Okay, everyone, we're going to call this meeting to order. First, we would like to begin by having a moment of silence for David Walter. His passing in December surprised us all, and we'd just like to honor his memory in this time on this board with a moment of silence. Okay, if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, as you'll all see, we do have a new face up here. So for the roll call, Paul Roush.
Here.
Jeff Sinister.
Here.
Ethan Lowe.
Here.
Dave Banks.
Here.
And Jessica Bailey here. We will now go into the reorganization.
Okay, Madam Clerk, at this time, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Paul Roush as Chairman of the Election Board.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, the meeting is yours.
Thank you.
You didn't have to leave the room to get it.
All right, next on our agenda is selection of the election board attorney.
We're going to do the Vice Chair.
You got to do a
Vice Chair, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to nominate Ethan Lowe.
Yes.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, the reaffirmation of the election board attorney. Next on the agenda, any comments, questions? Motion to accept?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of the previous meeting's minutes. Any comments, questions as they were presented?
A motion to approve?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Clerk's report.
Okay, this is the first one of the year, and it's pretty lengthy. We've got a lot going on right now. First off, I'm doing some legislation watching. We have quite a bit going on down at the State House that I'm trying to keep my eye on right now. There have been 16 bills assigned to the Elections and Apportionment Committee, and one of those just happens to be ours. I worked with Representative Mosley after we found out that our idea to submit campaign finance reports electronically is currently outside of the state law. So I worked with him in getting an amendment to be able to allow that. So currently it had its first reading this past Tuesday and was referred to committee, and then Representative Morrison signed on as a co-sponsor today. So I'm anticipating that it's going to get heard from the committee relatively soon, and that would just allow us to have the option of approving online submission. We would not be able to mandate online submission, but we are moving forward in the direction that this board was all in agreement for, so I just wanted to give you an update on that. And then I wasn't able to watch today's committee meeting. We've had some technical difficulties with county computers today, but House Bill 1057 was in committee last week, and that is looking to remove the straight party voting. Currently, Indiana is one of 7 states that allows straight party voting, and it causes some concern with, with our machines. Specifically, it caused concern this past time. We have been working with the ES&S as a workaround for that. We're still waiting to hear if it's going to work, but it also causes concern with at-large voting and with school board offices. So I'll keep you posted, but everything was just in committee. And then the other one that was particularly interesting was House Bill 1221, and that was looking to extend the polling location hours until 8 p.m. on Election Day. and also changes the unanimous vote to a simple majority for vote centers. That one seemed to have a lot of conflict with it, especially extending the day until 8 p.m. That means results aren't going to get posted until 10 or 11 p.m., and it didn't seem to have too much standing behind it. So, but that one would definitely affect us, and it affects our poll workers, and so I'm going to keep an eye on that one too. Nothing's looking to take effect until 2021, but it is something to plan for the future for.
What was that last House bill number?
1221.
Oh,
And then the one that we have down there right now is 1288. I'm not sure if I said that. Couple other things since our last meeting. We all went down to the election conference. ES&S put on a training on the Monday before the conference, which was the Tuesday and Wednesday. So we had 3 days full of a lot of information. All of the books for the board members that couldn't make it and the calendars are downstairs in the elections office. So if you guys want to grab those on your way back, they're quite heavy to lug that box all the way up here. Let's see what else we have. Oh, the state implemented an SVRS proficiency test, which is statewide voter registration proficiency test, and anyone who's going to be in SVRS has to pass that with a minimum of an 80%, and currently the entire elections office has passed it, except for I take my test tomorrow. But I'm looking forward to saying everyone has it. Let's see. We held our second candidate information session this past Saturday. Ken Taylor was kind enough to facilitate for us again. We once again went over campaign finance reports, only this time we did it a little bit different. We had a list of donations and a list of expenditures and a report. So everyone had hands-on training as well as listened to the lecture portion of it, and it seemed to have an effect. It was very kind words afterwards, and they were realizing that filing their reports correctly takes a little bit more time and effort and shouldn't wait till the 11th hour in order to get that done. But we'll talk more about campaign finance reports.
How many people attended?
11 attended this time, and they were 11 different people than attended the first time.
Okay, good.
So
Good.
it is building.
Momentum.
Yeah, we're hoping to continue having it. We had a lot of people that are like, I can't come this Saturday. Are you going to have another one? Are you going to have another one? And the more we keep going through our reports, I think more people will attend them. But, you know, it is 3 hours on a Saturday morning. It's difficult for some people to attend.
Sure.
We do have the video that will be posted online. So if people are interested, they're not going to get the hands-on part of it, but at least they can watch it. And we have slides available, too, from the presentation. The other thing that we're working on right now is we are starting to schedule an outreach program with the local high schools where staff members will go into each local high school and give a presentation on what you need to be able to vote, how to register, all that type of things, and then also what the responsibilities and the rewards are of being a poll worker. We're hoping to help the chairmen in filling their boards because we're planning to need approximately 600 poll workers this year. So if we can help in filling those boards in any way we can, reaching out to the high schoolers and telling them it is an important job, it is a very long day, so knowing these things going into it, they can make a informed decision. That's all I have for that.
Any questions or comments on that report? All right, director's report.
Hi.
Hello.
So, as you know, filing started this month. So far in the office, it's been pretty busy. We've had 8 petitions come in for president, so that's a time-consuming job in itself. It could be hundreds and hundreds upon hundreds of signatures that need to be verified. So far we've seen 8 of those.
We had 2 calls today for the
For more.
address that they're going to be sending us more. So, yay.
Local-wise, we've had 33 candidates filed so far for the county offices or delegates, committeemen. So it's a pretty busy start to the year already. We had a deadline yesterday for the campaign finance reports at noon. We did receive reports from over 60 candidates, but there are still some left out there. We have been reaching out to the early locations for absentee early voting, just to make sure that we can have their locations and let them know of the hours.
We're just only waiting on one to confirm. All the rest are confirmed, and we don't foresee it being a problem. We just got the cell phone number for the new chief, so that's why
Union.
it kind of, for Union Township. They have a different chief than they had last time we used them, so we had to track that down before we could confirm it, so. Class schedules.
Class schedules, we have all the class schedules already set in advance for April for the May election. We are having all 3 locations again, Chesterton, Portage, and Valpo. We're also going to offer 2 Saturday classes here as well as night classes too, because those seem to have a high turnout. So hopefully the Saturday classes option will be a good addition for the poll workers as well this time. We're also starting to look at booking October's as well, because those schedules for those libraries fill up so fast. We're trying to get our times in now, as far in advance as we can. And we've had poll workers calling in too, so we're creating a spreadsheet again and forwarding to the appropriate chairman as we get them, just to try to all hands on. Here's names now, take them while they're live. That's about it.
Just a point of a clarification, the precinct committeeman, that's only on the Republican side.
Republican committeemen and then
Yeah.
delegates for both parties.
I don't want to get a bunch of calls from my
Yes, that's true.
They hear committees are up there, they go back both paddles. And those guys are 2022, make that in the
Yep.
press, 2022 Democrats.
Only Republican committeemen.
All right, anyone else with a comment on the director's report? Unfinished business, campaign finance report.
Okay, so.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Back to last year's reports, we have one outstanding pre-primary report. We're thinking that individual thought they were submitting the correct report when they filed for their annual, but we are still missing the pre-primary, so hopefully that can get adjusted relatively quickly. With the passing of Ray Poprod from Burns Harbor, we have another issue, kind of like we do with Ms. Olson. He has an open campaign, so the executor of the estate can dissolve the campaign. If not, then we have to wait 3 years from the day of last activity, which would put it back to the pre-primary of 2018. So, 2019, sorry. I've got my years confused. So, again, I don't know, like maybe we can try to reach out to find out if there's an executor, or if we just want to kind of put that on the back burner the same we have with the other one. I don't really know, kind of looking for some direction.
You know, when I had that caucus out there, I asked about if Ray had a report or everything. They were under the impression that their salary is under a limit, that they don't have to do a report and stuff like this. So Ray never raised no money. He didn't put any money into it or anything like this. So that's why he never filed anything, supposedly. You know.
He didn't open it.
Yeah, or something.
Yeah.
Whatever he had to do, yeah, to get going. Stuff like
He
this.
didn't open one, even though he wasn't taking in, or if it's under that threshold, he still opened it, so then he has to file it.
He would just have to check that disband, and so we just need someone to check the disband, or we can put him on the back burner for the next 3 years.
I would imagine his wife is the executor or the chief beneficiary or whatever. I mean, if you guys would reach out to her, I mean, I'm sure she'd check that box and close that one out, so rather than wait this 3-year time frame for that to transpire.
Okay, we can reach out.
And just to be, Ray was the treasurer of his campaign. Okay.
He did it all.
Yep. We went over already, yesterday was the deadline for the annual report, so we have this passed down to Monica. It does, the directors made one last-ditch effort today. They emailed everyone they had an open email for, saying, hey, you missed the date. So on here, it lists the outstanding reports. as well as the information, if they left a voicemail, or if the person responded, or if it was an invalid email, along with copies. So if you guys want to take a gander and pass it on to Monica, so she has all that information to move forward.
Lots.
Yes,
Thank you.
but there was like over, 63-ish that was
Start.
still due as of yesterday morning.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of them came in.
These are all delinquent?
Yes,
Okay.
from yesterday. So it hasn't been a huge time period, but
Mhm.
yes.
And
So
the
what-
ones that we put responded did comply and say, okay, I know I'm going to get it to you. And we put those emails in there too.
Yeah, all the correspondence back and forth is paper clipped to the back of it. So you'll have that.
Every single one that didn't turn one in was email. Like, we had, luckily, added emails, and three of them were undeliverable, unfortunately. So there were only 3 of them.
Donna Purdue moved to Florida.
Yeah, I was in
Okay.
contact with her. She knows,
Okay.
she was trying to,
Email,
All
I
right.
told her, so
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sure she'll give it to us.
okay.
We figured she'd probably just.
I wouldn't be thinking about it. I'd be looking for suntan.
Tell her it's winter time and she can be extradited. You'll get that report immediately.
Down there, you'll get her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
road trip.
We all really.
That's the direction of the board.
I'll go down and get her, yeah, that's right. Yeah, me and Ethan will go down.
I'm waiting to make sure she doesn't
Okay.
have any questions.
Were there any others than from last year that have still outstanding? Because we had some at our last meeting there that still had to be corrected. And
Yep, and they submitted all except for Robert Allison.
Okay.
So,
And he never submitted pre-election, so we never got to mark it up.
Okay.
that's the one, this is the one we need to kind of figure out what step we want to take next with regard to him.
He did turn in an annual.
So that's probably what he did?
So, yeah, we think he thought that he was supposed to turn in the annual instead of turning in the pre-election. So he did turn in an annual. We're just still waiting for the pre-election.
So that would be what, would you, the preference then, or more is, what does the board want to do with that? Do you want me to follow up on this and say, thank you for your annual report, but what we were really looking for was your pre-election report?
Because the way it was addressed too on the envelope, I'm like, oh, here's our final one. You know, this is the last outstanding, and then I opened it, I saw it was manual, so I did try to call the only number we were looking for, and left a pretty detailed message, but did not heard back from him yet. No.
How long ago was that?
That was on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Which means he was ahead of the game for the annual.
So
Yeah.
I gave him the
Right.
direction that, you know, hey, we received the report, there's still one that was outstanding, we do meet Thursday at 3 p.m., please let's get this resolved.
Well, do we want to send him an official letter?
I would send him another
Let him
letter.
know
Maybe
that-
he just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
That
If you
maybe
send the one in front of the other,
maybe he
Could
thought
do
the
something.
annual would take care of them all or something.
Yeah.
And
So I'll send another letter just saying you remain delinquent
on this one,
on this
we
one.
got your
We
annual.
did get your annual. In case you have misunderstood, you still have got to get this completed and ask that he get it in by the end of the month? Is
Yeah.
that reasonable? Okay.
A good portion of those that are outstanding too are a lot of candidates that ran last year, and they don't realize that when they lose in the general election, that they are still required to comply with the reporting schedule until you close, even if you,
Right.
like a lot of them have zeros,
Hmm.
they think, oh, I lost this election, so we're also going to try to incorporate that into our training
Mhm.
next time too, you know, public knowledge of, and in the email that she sent today, it says, even if you have zero, even if you win or lose, you're still required to comply until you disband this.
Yep.
And
And we,
another thing we had talked to Senator about putting in the training is, that's great that you have an email, you know, so-and-so for city council, but if that's not one you're gonna continually check afterwards, like, that's why a lot of those were returned undeliverable. Just on your candidate committee, to make sure that that's an email that you're going to continually have and check, so that you can get correspondence from us if you're gonna keep your campaign
And we did also post that on social media, so we're trying to outreach as many different ways as we can, but if you don't check your messages or your email or look on social media, we're kind of at a loss.
They lived in Florida, we know how you want to handle it. Duly noted.
Monica, in sending that letter, can you just give him the boilerplate pre-primary form? Just attach that to your letter as well, hopefully, so then maybe he can distinguish that between what he filed. Okay. Thank you.
Like, when I sent the email out today, I attached a copy of the CFA-4, so they had one on there, and then I also attached in the page about how to disband the report, to the email, so they know how to disband it, if you can or can't, which box to check, so that they could disband it and not have to owe a future report. Close it, you know, stop bothering me.
All right, anything else on the finance reports? Any other questions, comments? All right, multi-purpose vehicle.
We've been talking about this for a couple months now. We are on the agenda, again, for the county council at the end of this month. At the end of last year, just as a refresher, I asked to transfer some funds that we still had available in our 2019 budget, and we didn't have any action on that, so now we're going back again. They had requested additional information, so I did send a proposal to them. I have already emailed that to everyone a couple times on the board. So part of the questions that they had asked in addition was, one, if the election board is in favor of this. I did receive quite a few emails and verbal confirmations that, yes, we are still in favor of this as a whole. And then also they wanted to know what the cost for insurance would be. I have heard from the county insurance carrier. It will be $1,600 a year to insure the vehicle. And as far as mobile voting and registration drives, that's already covered underneath the county policy, so there's no additional charges for that. The council meets again, and we're on the agenda, like I said, Tuesday, January 28th at 5:30, so if you guys can set your calendars to come, I'm sure they'd appreciate seeing your smiley faces and saying for yourself, yes, we're in favor of this. Again, the vehicles would be used for multiple purposes. It would be used to transport election equipment to and from early voting sites, to and from classes. As the director's already said, we've got classes going out. We're going to Valpo, Portage, and Chesterton. So instead of having to rent a vehicle or, like we've done in the past, borrow maintenance vehicles and borrow the coroner's vehicle, which, yes, we did have to remove the gurney and store the gurney. They were all team players, and we appreciate them helping, but it was a little creepy. And we understand that they also have jobs to do, and so when we have their vehicle, they can't have their vehicle. So as much as we appreciate it, we do think it's time to move forward with our own, especially having these classes out in the community so it's easier for poll workers to attend. It doesn't do us much good to talk about the equipment if they can't touch it. So we need to have a way to move that equipment to the classes. And again, it helps us. It's less vehicles we have to rent for early voting. We can deliver the equipment ourselves. If a machine goes down, we don't have to scramble at the last minute trying to figure out how we're going to get another one there. We have a vehicle in order to move it. As I touched on before, we also use it for voter registration drives. We've talked to different places that hold community events. We've talked to people who currently hold office and direct public locations, and it seems to be widely in favor of us using their public property in order to hold voter registration drives and such. And then the last part that we want to do is innovative in this area. We want to use it as an additional satellite location, and I've included those suggestions in your packet. We're looking to go to Haven Hollow Park, Lakeland Park in Burns Harbor, and Pensy Park in Couts. These are places that we do not currently have satellite locations, so it's just an additional place that people could walk to. It's in the community, so those who have mobility issues could walk to it instead of having to get a ride on Election Day or get a ride to one of the other early vote locations. It's walking distance, so they can go cast their vote when we're in their area and be able to walk there. So it's a different approach than what has been used in Indiana. It has been used in other states, and so we're just looking as another way, another opportunity for people to cast their vote.
What's been the initial impression of the county council?
Hesitant, for a variety of reasons. I think they appreciate the time and the effort that is taken into looking at this. Some of them are in favor for vehicle or for equipment delivery. Some of them are in favor of it for voter registration. Some of them are even accepting for the mobile voting. But it's a traditional council. So to think outside the box, I think it scares, makes them a little bit hesitant to spearhead an initiative.
You know, for the purpose of getting it in the minutes, the questions that I had for Jessica was, from a budgetary standpoint, I mean, we're not robbing Peter to pay Paul. We're not going to take something away from maybe early voting or extended hours or something like this to pay for this. This is something that's already built in, it's bought and paid for. The money you return to the council and the general fund is probably quadruples what we're asking for. Like I said, the idea of the early vote and stuff and the mobile vote and some Saturdays and everything like this, those are three excellent locations. We can even expand it. We probably have another Saturday in there somewhere to take pressure off of the other voting sites. This is going to be a very big election, so, you know, we want to make it as voter-friendly as possible with at least congestion at every polling place and the early voting places. So if this helps do that, then why wouldn't we do it? To me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, and I'd be willing to make a motion, if they said, did they vote on it, to go ahead and accept this proposal and say that the election board is in favor of this as far as from the standpoint of the election board to make a request of the county council.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm going to abstain purely because I haven't been here for this very months-long conversation.
Sure.
So, okay, very good. So motion passes, yeah?
Yeah, like I said before, last year it was into our budget, it was excess funds. So it would not have cost any additional. This year in 2020, it is not in our budget. We tried to do, or it was an attempt to do a carryover, but because there was no action taken, we could not carry over the funds. So the funds were put back into the general fund. They don't just go away. They are in the general fund, the excess funds that we had, not only from that account, but from other accounts.
Yeah, that was my next question is, can you set aside our money that was the excess, because it's basically the board's funds, so that way we're not asking for money out of their current year budget.
That's what I was looking to do. Unfortunately, I didn't feel comfortable going to the council until I knew what the general election was going to cost last year.
Sure.
So I couldn't go to them without knowing that we had the money available. As soon as I knew that we would have the funds available, I asked to get on the agenda. We were on November's agenda. They didn't feel comfortable taking action without other information. I have provided as much information to them as everything I've been asked for, plus some. I'm still waiting to hear if there's any other questions or concerns. I'm sure I'll find out in a couple weeks. But that's just, at that point in time, we had the funds. They have been returned to the general fund. In talking with the auditor, it takes 3 months to get an additional appropriation, and that, while we could go that route, that would definitely cut into our time frame with being able to use the vehicle for the primary election. So what I've instead tried to do is request a transfer of funds, and then I will ask for an additional appropriation to replace those funds. Again, I didn't want to go the additional appropriation route, but it's a big election, and I don't feel comfortable not reappropriating the funds that we're taking out of it without knowing what the end of the year is going to have for us.
Okay. All right, new business. resolution to approve 16 and 17-year-old poll workers.
Okay, so we did this at least last year. I'm sure it's been done before that, but we just need to basically say that, yes, we approve in using 16 and 17-year-olds. That way we can reach out to them and have a well-rounded polling location board. While we don't want to cut out anyone with historical knowledge, we also know that sometimes those that are seasoned aren't necessarily comfortable with the newest technology. So you put those two together, and it really complements each other well. So I have the resolution that I'll title Resolution 2020-01. And again, it just lists the criteria that we're interested in for poll workers that are 16 and 17-year-old. Is the exact same thing we passed last year.
Does it say something about they have to maintain a certain grade?
3.0 out of 4.
Okay, all right, make sure.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll second that one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
So we'll need everyone to sign that
Okay.
so that we can get it put with everything.
You guys are my doctors. That's right. Yeah, I'm going.
Okay, next one. Resolution to approve inventory list.
So the state keeps an inventory of all of our equipment, which is quite extensive now, and all of our, including our e-poll books. And then we have to submit that to the state, and they use that information in order to choose what machines we have to test for the public test. So that's just you guys, or all of us, certifying that, yes, the equipment list is complete. I sent you lots of numbers.
You did.
That would be our inventory list.
Okay, motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No one. Okay, resolution to approve e-poll books.
So last year, we went away from paper poll books to e-poll books, and so we, again, signed this exact same resolution. It's just saying that we are going to use e-poll books at, on Election Day and for early vote, and we just have to submit it to the state.
Okay, motion to accept.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Now, do we have to label that 2020-03?
I have it,
Since the last one,
it's 02 because this is a state form. It's an
Okay.
IEC
gotcha.
22.
Okay, discussion on early vote locations and hours.
As we discussed earlier, we are looking to add to early vote locations and hours this year for the presidential. It's going to be a very large election. So we're looking at having 5 early voting sites this time. So it'll be the Porter County Administration Building, the one that you're in right now, Chesterton Town Hall, Hebron Community Center, the North County Complex in Portage, and then also we're awaiting approval for Union Township Fire Station number 2. All of those are sites that we've used before. We don't anticipate any problems. So we're looking at having Monday, Wednesday, Friday hours, 8:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m., and then extended hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so that would be 8:30 a.m. until 8:30 p.m. We will have 2 Saturdays, April 25th and May 2nd, the last 2 Saturdays before election. Again, those will be open 8:30 to 3:30, and that's just for these voting sites. In addition, we are looking to extend the number of boards because the lines can get pretty long. So we will start off by having 2 boards in Valpo, 2 boards in Portage, and then we'll play the other ones by ear. Not to say that in the extended hours that we'll have 2 boards, because if it's not warranted, then we won't have it. We'll still have the 1 board open. So all locations will be open. We're just going to play by ear the number of boards. So we are asking the chairman for additional early vote workers as well. And I had the vote mobile. We went ahead and planned that just because if we get approval at the end of January, we want to start publishing these locations ASAP. So we have, for potential mobile voting, Saturday, April 11th at Haven Hollow Park, Saturday, April 18th at Burns Harbor Lakeland Park, and then Saturday, April 25th at Tennessee Park and Couts, and those hours would be 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I don't know if we want to approve those pending the location approval from Union Township and pending the approval from the county council so we can get started if we get those, or if we want to wait.
Probably should wait until we get county council approval. I don't want to make it look like we're ignoring their authority and, yeah.
So I'll bring this back February-ish.
Anything else on that?
Nope.
All right, next item on the agenda is Election Day polling location changes.
You'll see in the attachment that I sent earlier in the week, we have some permanent changes that we would like to make. Center 15 and 21 from First Presbyterian Church to Cook's Corners. The difference in that is 0.7 miles. And then Center 16 from Emergency Management to Heveland, that's 0.3 miles. Center 30 from Jamestown to Emmanuel Lutheran, which is 1.3 miles. And then Westchester 17 to Ethel Jones, which is 2.2 miles. And then that would complete the primary election locations.
Comments?
Do you want to do an approval for those changes? Probably should, just
Yeah, I
to
would
make sure no
think,
one has
yeah.
any issues with that.
Yeah.
So moved.
So move second?
Second. And basically, you're just moving stuff from private to a public building, more likely.
Kind of,
Most
some of
cases.
them, in most cases. Each one has its own reasoning as to why it was moved. But, yeah, primarily, we're moving, with the exception. Yeah. And they're used to joining Portage for Portage Municipals anyway, so they were already at Jones this last time, so we're just going to keep them there. There's not a place for them to vote when the building's demolished anyway.
Okay, question's been called and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Announcements. Next meeting.
Next meeting is February 20th at 3 p.m. That's what we have scheduled. We currently have on the schedule the third Thursday of every month. That's what we did last time. Plus, there are a couple additional that I was asked to plan. So besides the third Thursday at 3 o'clock, we also have April 30th. That's right after campaign finance reports are due and right before the election, so we can handle any concerns that come out from there. May's meeting instead will be on the 15th at noon for certification of the election. And then in October, we'll have an additional meeting on October 29th for the same reasons, right after reports are due and right before the election for any concerns.
That'll be at noon or regular?
At 3 o'clock. And then November 13th will be at noon for certification as well. And they're all listed on the county website.
Deadlines or more on?
More on the meeting. I just wanted, just for your guys' knowledge, I will not be here next month, so I'll have a proxy. If you guys have any questions you need, if you can get them to me ahead of time, and then I can make sure that you guys have your answers that you need.
Okay.
It's not a question.
Since Jessica disclosed that, I won't be here either. I will actually be in Florida, so I'll just...
We don't want to see down at Purdue. Get the report while you're down there.
Okay, upcoming deadlines?
Yeah, we have a lot of them. January 28th, presidential petitions are due. January 31st, the equipment inventory is due to the state. Thank you guys for signing that, so we can get that taken care of. And it's also the deadline for anyone who is newly elected to turn their oaths into the clerk's office.
I have a question. In light of the fact that you guys both have the 20th as conflicts, not that it's horribly busy, do we want to just move it back a week on the February date?
What about deadline for early vote location certification? What's
Yeah, I
the
was going to
timeline?
say, yeah.
I don't know how far we can push it back.
Exactly.
Last time we approved it in March,
So we
the
did?
early vote locations.
Okay. So we got time then.
The only issue I'd say with that is it's gonna be trouble because we publish it, unless we put posters out and we do like,
It's harder to get the outreach done.
and the candidate stuff, I mean, they're probably gonna, I'm sure they're gonna do their printing with their mailers, I'm sure on both sides.
Yeah, what about February 13 then? Just do 1 week up.
I can check for the rooms, but I'm clear on the 13th.
I'm clear.
Yeah, I can't do the 13th.
No?
Not the 13th.
No?
So I can do the 27th.
What about 27?
I'll
27?
mess up
Is it
there.
available on the 27th?
I'll be in Mexico. I'll get no reports.
On the 27th?
I'll be
Ethan, are you gone that whole week?
The week of the 20th,
Yeah. Are you gone that whole week?
I'm leaving Thursday, or Tuesday night, so I'll be in town Monday, Tuesday.
Maybe.
102A is not.
Yeah, go what, yeah, just change one.
Is 102A available on, what days are we looking at?
17, 18? Right?
Correct.
Monday, Tuesday.
Oh, we've moved to Monday, Tuesday.
You don't want to do Monday because that's President's Day. So you don't want to do the
Yeah, we'll get
17th.
locked out.
Not the 18th.
You don't, yeah, you want to go to the 18th because the 7th, President, yeah.
Can we do it at noon on the 18th? Does that throw it off for anybody?
I'm fine.
Noon on the
Noon on
18th?
the 18th. Well, we're checking to see if rooms are available at noon
Okay.
on the 18th. Okay. So on the 18th, we can definitely do 102A.
Let's just do it.
Do you want to do 102A?
Yep.
Yep.
Do it. At noon?
Can we
You
do
said
102?
noon?
Yeah.
Noon.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like we'll be in 102A on the 18th at noon.
Okay.
Okay, so also before our next meeting, on February 4th, the governor petitions are due. On February 7th, filings for local office ends at noon. February 10th is the withdrawal deadline at noon, and then challenge deadline is February 14th at noon. So those are what we have upcoming that pertains to us.
Okay, next on the agenda is other. Does anyone have an other? No?
Nope, I think we're good.
Okay, public comment? Seeing none and hearing none, motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.